All right, welcome back, everyone. It is great to see you. Once again, I hope you had wonderful breakout sessions today. I hope you learned lots of things. I can't wait to hear all about it. So our final session of the day is a panel discussion. And so we put the panel discussion together because there is such a variety of teacher education programs on the P12 level throughout the state. I thought it would be a great idea to hear from some of the different types of programs around some familiar themes. So we're going to be talking about how each of them address issues of recruitment, fieldwork, and even dual credit. And so we have the great fortune today of having a wonderful moderator with us. So we have the wonderful Teresa Mon, a social studies teacher from the East Orange STEM Academy and the 2022 New Jersey State Teacher of the Year, who's going to serve as our moderator. So I'm going to step out, but then I'll pop back in at the end with a few last minute announcements and other things that we need to know about upcoming events and important announcements coming up. So without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Teresa and take it away.
Yes, thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon. I am Teresa Mon, and I have been an educator for 40 years. So I am extremely pleased to be a part of this program that aims to work out ways to retain those to come into our profession. I would like to have my panel introduce themselves, and I will go alphabetically by your first name. So Deidre, would you be so kind as to let our audience know all about you?
Sure. My name is Dr. Deidre Williams. I am from Atlantic City Public Schools. My current role is the College and Career Coordinator. I'm also affiliated with Stockton University as an adjunct faculty member in the School of Education. I've been in education for over 25 years.
Thank you. And Diane, you're next.
Good afternoon. My name is Diane Wilburn. This is my 28th year of teaching. I am a high school history teacher at Atlantic City High School. I also teach the Tomorrow's Teachers program that we are in, I believe, our 10th year as of this year. And welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And Jennifer.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jennifer Scomiel. I teach at Morris County School of Technology in Denville, and I teach a 4-year teacher preparation program. I'm also the 2019 New Jersey State Teacher of the Year.
Thank you, Jennifer. And Kathy?
Teresa, thank you for going by first name, because with the last name Assini, I always have to go first.
I know.
So I am Dr. Kathy Assini. I am in my 20th and last year in the public school system. I teach at the high school now for 5 years, where I brought Tomorrow's Teachers to our high school building. I am now an adjunct at Rowan, and we have a 2-year program at Delsey for Tomorrow's Teachers. Oh, and I'm the 2014 New Jersey State Teacher of the Year, sorry.
Yes, definitely want to honor you with that. And Laura, will you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much, Teresa. My name is Laura Iskowitz. I am 27 years in. I am currently the Tomorrow's Teachers instructor at North Brunswick High School, and it is an honors class for our kids, and it is seniors only.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here with us today. So I've just attended a wonderful keynote address and breakout sessions that are focused on the issue of recruitment and retention. And in particular, how do we reach out to our high school students? So we're all aware of the fact that there are challenges in bringing people into the program, especially when seeking Black, Indigenous, people of color students, males in the elementary field, world languages, bilingual, the sciences, ESL, special ed. So my question to the panel is, what is it that what is your best piece of advice for recruitment of high school students into our profession? And you may raise your hand with the little icon. Yes, Deidre, thank you.
I have 3 quick pieces of advice. One is to observe students to see who evolves in the classroom setting or a school setting or even a social setting. Listen to hear as a peer educator evolves within your classroom, a peer sphere of influence, someone who's very helpful or someone that has a desire to seek knowledge. And the third is to mentor students in future educator type capacities in any given situation to show them that they have the ability to serve in that role because their esteem may not allow them to feel that way.
Thank you. And Kathy?
So, and I'll go to the opposite side of picking the correct teachers to teach the program. You need teachers that are exposed to a large group of kids, not just a senior AP teacher, so that students sometimes take classes because of the teacher that's teaching it. So that teacher has to be a well-respected teacher and not a popular teacher, but a well-liked teacher.
Yes. Is there anyone else that would like to participate about how do you bring students into your program?
I often find that students who I may just see in the hallway, sometimes just maybe their character, leadership qualities that I see as I'm just perusing the hallways, and I may not know that student. But come here, what's your name? You know, it may be the kid that's, that does not even think that being a teacher is even in their realm, but you never know. That one conversation with that student, I saw something in you. I saw what you just did, and do you know about this program? And let them know that I am the Tomorrow's Teachers support. So if they are interested, stop by my room later. I'd like to have a conversation with you.
So you're building that relationship, Diane, is what I'm hearing you saying. And
that's
yeah.
what teaching's all about, building relationships. So start there first, and you'll be surprised how fast your classes fill up because just word of mouth.
Absolutely. Laura?
One of the things that I do to help recruit for my program is we actually put a YouTube video out, and we're lucky enough to have our morning announcements televised. So I show that. We also get involved with the TV broadcasting courses, and the students many times will do interviews that are aired to the population in the building. And they're like, oh, wow, that's a really neat project. I'm interested to do something like that. Or they'll interview me, or they'll watch students building their bulletin boards. Oh, wow, that's kind of neat. I'd like to try that.
Yeah, I like what you're saying in reference to reaching the students at their interests, especially utilizing YouTube and social media is something that we could possibly explore as ways of doing that. We talked about recruiting and bringing people into the program, but I know that part of this Tomorrow's Teachers program involves field work. And so I'm really interested in finding out how is that conducted within your program? What does it look like, field work? Any advice that you have for those who are thinking of beginning this type of program and are a little hesitant, especially when contemplating this concept of having to be out in the field with students? Jennifer.
Thank you. So my program being a 4-year program might be a little different, but the main thing I'd like to share is how we scaffold our field experiences. So with our on-site preschool, our freshman year, they get a lot of experience being in with the preschoolers. And it's nice because a lot of them, it's their first time working with children. So it's not an uncomfortable setting for them, right? If they were to go into maybe a middle school or a high school, my students would be a little bit more uncomfortable, I think, at the first go at it. So freshman year is really focused on that early childhood piece. And then as we get into sophomore and junior year, we have field trips to local elementary schools and middle schools. And then in junior year, our curriculum allows for a little bit more focus on social work and psychology and some of those fields that aren't typically within a public school setting. And so we've gone to a place called Deirdre's House in Morris County, which is a nonprofit that helps families. And that experience right there shows them social work, shows them what it would be like to work at a nonprofit. And now students are starting to expand their view. Senior year, we are required to have our students do a 120-hour internship. And that's because we are a vocational school. So while we understand it's a big time commitment, that's where they're really now infused into a school setting. And our students may choose 1 or 2 placements throughout the year that they go to, and they get a lot more hands-on. So we try scaffolding it from freshman year until senior year. But I think if you have a 1 or 2 year program, you could really do the same thing, September to June, scaffolding how much time they're in a classroom.
Thank you, Jennifer. Anyone else about your field program? Jennifer's is a 4-year program, and I believe that most of the other programs represented here are not. Kathy?
So ours is either a 1 year or 2 year. If they start in their junior year, or their first start is their senior year, they will go for a 3rd marking period. They go out 3 days a week for their 40-minute class period, which presents a little bit of a problem because the class then has to be scheduled at the end of the day so that they don't have to come back for their next period class. We've worked it on a wheel as well, and that played into their lunch periods, but that is another one. If they take it as a junior and again as a senior, then they go out starting the end of September for the entire year, 3 days a week. So they get much more exposure there. They can go back to the same class they were in their junior year, or usually what we do is each semester they try a different grade level.
Thank you. And Diane or Deidre? Or Laura, I'm sorry, Laura, go right ahead.
No problem. So what I do in September, I have a letter sent out to the district from the superintendent. Embedded in that letter is a form for a Google link. If anyone would like to be a cooperating teacher, please sign up, and we'll be able to observe your classes, and how many in the embedded link. It's a whole questionnaire for the teachers to come on board, be a part of our program. How many years do you have experience? What's your specialty area? Would you like to talk to our students if you don't want them to observe your classes, and so on and so forth? So in my program, some of the students don't know what level they'd like to teach at. They think they want to teach pre-K. They think they want to teach 1st grade, but they realize it might be a little too much once they observe. So in my program, they must observe at each level, elementary, middle, and high school, at least 3 times a year. So that's done each month, 1 or 2 observations a month. At the end of the year, we do 2 full weeks of field experience and 2 days from morning until afternoon. So right now with our schedule, just like Kathy, my course is only at the end of the day. Many of my students are driving themselves to different school buildings. So we're lucky where we do have an early out program. So they may have a study hall or early out before my class, which gives them more time, but not everybody has that option. So the last 2 weeks of the year, their field experience happens only during my period of the day, which is 54 minutes. But if they have that study hall, I'm like, go get more experience. Go ahead. It's okay if you do extra. Drive carefully. It might be snowy or icy. Be very careful. Another thing we have to discuss.
Yes.
And then after the 2 weeks, they have 2 full days from morning until afternoon that they spend with the cooperating teacher.
Thank you. And Diane?
Well, at Atlantic City High School, I have leaned on my colleagues over the last 10 years, and many of my students want to teach at a high school level. Some don't. However, because of logistics and insurance purposes, I keep them inside of the building. Also, in order for me to observe them and to get feedback from their cooperating teacher, we find that it is beneficial to not only the student, the other students that are in the classroom with our tomorrow teachers, and myself, to keep them in the building. One of the things that has been encouraging is my teachers in the building, they sign up with me. Like, I'll take one of your students. They
good.
look forward to that end of the third marking period and the beginning of the fourth marking period, having a student come in and shadow them and you know, not critique them, but look at learning styles and learn some of the tricks of the trade from veteran teachers, new teachers, so they enjoy that. And I like seeing that and the ability for me to actually go around to the classrooms with the students and help them with lesson plans and see their teaching experience. That's
Because,
yeah.
because they're there. For someone who's thinking of creating this kind of a program within my school district, that was a concern for me. My students would not be drivers. So knowing that it's working within your high school setting. And also my second question would have been, would you have problems having teachers sign on as being that cooperating teacher? So it's very good to know that that is something that I could possibly realize down the road.
We do send out a letter and it says, congratulations, you know,
Great.
this student has chosen you, you know, that kind of thing.
That's
So it
wonderful.
strokes our ego a little bit too.
Absolutely. We know here at the Center for Future Educators that there's a relationship that has been developed with Stockton, Ryder, Kane, and Fairleigh Dickinson University. And this concept of dual credit is inherent, is part of the program. I know if we begin one in my school district, that's something we're exploring about dual credit. So I'm just wondering how many of your students actually take advantage of these dual credit opportunities or any other opportunities from other institutions? And what do you see as the benefits and the obstacles of this dual credit opportunity?
We use Seton Hall University and Rider University. So I think because our program is several years long and pretty in-depth, Seton Hall has a partnership with us. That was something established prior to me coming on. So that was in existence for at least, I don't know, 15 years or so. So for that one, our students, just by being in the program, are able to earn credit and they have to pay for it on their own. But I understand that in some schools, there is a way to get funding so the students don't have to pay out of pocket, which is really great. And then we also have Rider University. So our students opt into that. So it depends on the year and it depends on the motivation of the students. Right now, I have 15 students. I think 13 of them signed up for Seton Hall. They didn't have to do any extra coursework. Last year, about the same number signed up for Seton Hall and one signed up for Rider because there was a little bit of extra assignments and stuff like that that she had to do.
Thank you. Deidre?
Yes, we're affiliated with Stockton University. We have a high level of support for our dual credit Tomorrow's Teachers program. I'm going to let Diane speak a little bit more about that. But over the years, all of our students have signed up for the dual credit portion.
Yes, we are affiliated with Stockton, and matter of fact, I believe Dr. Meg White is on this call. She actually was the person who helped to build the Tomorrow's Teachers program and the dual credit program with Stockton. So she has been instrumental in making sure that that program was brought to our students. And we have, I think there's not one student who has not used their dual credit. We have now, we were the first, the Tomorrow's Teachers program under the direction of Dr. White, actually was the first dual credit program our high school had. And now we have multiple dual credit programs. So it has been a relationship that has been building and growing, but the first was the Tomorrow's Teachers program.
Yes, and I would like to also add to that, our dean, the dean from the School of Education, Claudine Keenan of Stockton University, was instrumental of bringing it to my attention to help me to get more dual credit classes at Atlantic City High School, and also to connecting with Dr. White as well as Dr. Del Coley and other professors who have been very supportive of all of our dual credit students in multiple endeavors.
Thank you, Deirdre. Is there anyone else on our panel that would like to speak about dual credit opportunities, barriers, advantages?
Just to make it known that it's not required. I think in my 5 years, I've only had one student do the dual credit.
Right, right. And Laura?
I use a dual credit with Rider. I only choose one school. I don't give the students a choice of what school. I choose the school that actually financially works best with my students.
Mhm.
But each school has different requirements. Rider actually has other work on top of my course load of what needs to be done. And they're pretty tough about that. But I know there are other colleges and universities that don't ask for any additional work. So it's really up to the instructor to figure out what would work best for their program.
And for someone like myself who's just at the point where we're considering this type of a program, I would be interested in the costs to the students. I know, Diane, you said that for your students, there isn't, because I could see where that would be something that could be prohibitive.
There is
for
a
students.
cost.
There is?
There
Okay.
is a cost. However, if our student receives free or reduced lunch,
Okay.
that's the exception. However, there is a fee.
Right. And with this dual credit program, the teachers who, like yourselves, one of the discussions we had in the breakout room was whether or not there was a master's requirement of the teachers who are working with the program. And then there was a second question about what field or area that masters needed to be in. Can anyone comment on that?
Atlantic City High School requires a master's degree.
For the teachers working with the program.
Yes.
Laura, did you have something to say about that?
Are you in regards to the dual credit? Is that what you were?
Yes.
I
Mhm.
think it really is based upon what school you're using. I know I have a great relationship with Professor Garrett at Rider. It's been wonderful. Not that I don't have a good relationship with the other universities. It's just, this is where I chose. This is where I felt comfortable. I think it suits my students. But they've been really good to me. I do not need to show them my credentials to have the course.
That's good to know. And I'm looking at the chat, and this is why this panel is so important and sharing of this information, because I can see that someone was surprised to learn that if you qualify for reduced lunch, for reduced meals, that you can have adjustments made with the cost of the program. So I thank you for making that publicly known to those of us here who are considering this. Are there any questions, Jeannie, that you think our panel could possibly address or that are being asked?
I think, bringing up the obstacles is a good segue. I think we just kind of opened up some eyes on the options that are out there. I think there's also, we need to talk about the opportunities. So the idea that these students, when they do come out of these programs, have the opportunity to come out with 3 or 4 credits of college credit that they can take to any college or university in the state of New Jersey. So I think that's a great opportunity for them, and they can get it far cheaper on the high school level than they can at the college level. So it is something that we, in thinking about the cost of higher education these days and wanting to help our students get through the program a little faster, that this is a really good opportunity. I'm going to also say if you're a teacher who's interested in forming a dual credit partnership, that all of that information is on our website. So you can check it out, and the contact information for the people at each of the colleges and universities is there as well. So you can make sure that what your students are doing is sort of in line with what the college is requiring. And so you can check out the agreements that we have on there already. You can also contact the universities directly and talk to their dual credit people about those options. So that's all. Yeah, so there's a lot of dual credit opportunities. And if you have a school that you have in mind that's not on that list, it wouldn't hurt to reach out to that university either, to ask a question about forming a partnership or a collaboration, because there are many sort of independent ones that aren't necessarily listed on our website. So anything you can do in order to get your students connected to college on an earlier level, I think that's a fantastic way to do so. And they're already getting so much out of the programs because we do have an established curriculum with tomorrow's teachers. So thank you so much for all of that. I'm going to kind of segue a little bit here, and we did talk a bit about recruitment as well. And I want to sort of add here that Deidre and Diane sort of work in a tag team model in Atlantic City High School. So and I think a lot of recruitment is about who are your allies, right? Who are your allies with building within the district? And if you don't have a steady set of allies, team members, collaborators to help funnel those students into your classes, then I think that should probably be a big step that you try to establish in the near future, right? Talking to the guidance counselors, talking to other teachers and coaches who may see different aspects of your students that you might not get to in class, because not everyone has the opportunity to teach large classes. So it's all about who's on your team, who's your allies here, who are your champions, so we can form them together and find those students who may be really good, because I think great teachers recognize the other qualities of other teachers, even if they're fledgling level as students, and can tap those students on the shoulder to say, hey, and now we all know from this morning's talk to say, yes, you would be a great teacher because, and elaborate, right? So to kind of really hook them into it and invite them to come to your classroom and even observe this year if they have a chance to, before registering for the class next year. But first, thank you, all of you panelists. You have been fantastic. I really appreciate having you here. The idea that we have Jennifer and her 4-year program, Kathy and her 2-year program, and Diane and Laura and Deidre with 1-year programs, but all looking so different, even though they sort of have the same core to them, is a great way to start to look at this. And I'm glad we were able to have this conversation.